Tonight,
more than half of the nation's fentanyl seizures happen in the Southern District of California.
From drug seizures.
This is just one group on one night in one border sector.
To the thousands of migrants crossing the border.
We have to say yes to accept their conditions.
In plans in place to finish the gaps in the border wall.
There have been major changes over the last few months on how the border operates. Is it legal for the state to put up a wall on federal land? Will the container wall work? And how has agriculture been affected? The 30-minute special edition dedicated to issues at the border. The Bordercast starts now.
An international crisis taking place right here in the desert Southwest, seen every day at the border. I'm Adam Klepp. Thanks for joining us in our 30-minute special, The Bordercast. Tonight we'll go into issues like fentanyl and human smuggling coming into our region. We'll also take a look at the record numbers of migrants crossing the border every day and night, how agents are managing that flow, and how federal immigration policies help and hurt their efforts. We'll also take a look at the ag industry and the benefits some growers get from being on the border and also the challenges they face. First, we look at recent crossing activity. Anywhere from 500 to 1,000 migrants cross into the Yuma sector every single day. While those numbers have generally stayed the same throughout the year, where and when migrants cross change frequently. Now, with the summer heat, migrants are choosing to cross under the cover of darkness, traversing the Colorado River and rough terrain for a chance at a better life in the United States. These groups making up just a fraction of the over 200,000 migrants which have crossed into the Yuma sector this fiscal year. Some even saying they've known the ones who've come before them.
My brother crossed here before. He had contacts, and so I crossed here. Here there's a better future for me and my family. In Lima, Peru, things are not good, so we came to the United States.
Migrants who arrive here nearby the Cocopah Reservation, coming from all over the world, and also of all ages. This area of the Yuma border becoming somewhat of a makeshift bus stop, just another part of their journey, which migrants say has been dangerous.
Like we are a family of 6 members, so they know that we can leave one of us, so they may put pressure. We have to say yes to accept their conditions, because if not, well, they will take us to the office and send back to our country in the worst case.
Arriving in Yuma, Arizona, at a time when global displacement around the world has never been higher, according to the United Nations. Most migrants say they're sad to leave their home countries, but say it was their only choice.
If we hadn't have any reasons to come here, we wouldn't. We would stay in Russia because it's the country where we would want, but because of the war, of the situation, we are like white ravens there. We can't live there.
Just some of the faces of the over 1 million migrants who have crossed over the entire southern border since October 1st. The work of agents also extends inland from the border. El Centro sector agents say they see smugglers trying to get drugs and people into our country every single day. Wiley Johari got an exclusive look at one of those checkpoints that you may have heard in our broadcast before.
A canine dog with the El Centro Sector Border Patrol alerted to a car at the Highway 86 checkpoint
to smuggle cocaine through the Highway 86 checkpoint Monday evening.
A man from the United States was taken into custody after attempting to cross through the Highway 86 checkpoint in Salton Sea.
Wiley now joins us from the Highway 86 checkpoint, where a lot of these drug busts are going down.
More than half of the nation's fentanyl seizures happen in the Southern District of California. The El Centro Sector immigration checkpoint contributes to the seizures of these dangerous narcotics. 2 million cars come through this checkpoint every single year. And with that come drug smuggling attempts. Agents say they see illegal activity almost every single day.
To our left, we have our primary, which agents are trained to find anything suspicious or anything out of the ordinary.
Drugs like methamphetamine, cocaine, and the deadly fentanyl.
Now, once the vehicle is in the secondary area, we'll get the occupants out of the vehicle, and then the agents can conduct their immigration inspection. While conducting their immigration inspection, agents have discovered illegal contraband such as drugs, guns, undeclared large amounts of currency. as well as narcotics.
And sure enough, on the day we joined agents at the checkpoint, a big meth bust. The driver and passenger of the vehicle were in possession of more than 100 pounds of methamphetamine with a street value of about $379,000.
For this fiscal year to date, methamphetamine has been our top drug, with almost a little bit over 1,400 pounds of methamphetamine was seized.
Later that day, another meth bust. This time a U.S. citizen accused of attempting to smuggle about 30 pounds of meth. But it doesn't stop there.
We have seized close to 163 pounds of fentanyl compared to last year of 58 pounds to the same date. That is an increase of over 173%.
Border Patrol agent Anna Mendoza says there's things they look out for.
A canine hit will also lead the vehicle to secondary. We also work with like the driver's behavior, like how they are behaving, if they're nervous or anything that will give the officer, the agent, suspicion. We've seized 67 pounds of cocaine this year from our fiscal year 2022. So it starts from October of 2021 to October 2022.
Agents say oftentimes the drugs are hidden in spare tires.
What someone wouldn't see from the normal eye, our agents are trained to see or even feel like a spare tire in the trunk could weigh more heavily than a normal spare tire. So that would be cause to further look into that spare tire.
Border Patrol agents tell me they'll continue doing everything in their power to prevent illegal drugs, dangerous weapons, and sometimes dangerous people from coming into our country. Reporting at the Highway 86 checkpoint, I'm Wiley Jahari.
The ag industry brings billions of dollars to both the economies of Yuma and Imperial County, but it's hard work. Part of the reason it's possible is because of the strong workforce in Mexico. Our Samantha Bird spoke to growers in both Imperial and Yuma counties about the benefits and challenges of farming on the border.
Local growers in Yuma and the Imperial Valley do benefit from growing right here on the U.S.-Mexico border because it creates a very strong workforce. But they've also begun to face challenges from the high number of migrant crossings. Some migrants even walk straight through these fields here behind me, causing food safety issues. Both the Imperial Valley and Yuma County have mild winters as well as a hot, dry climate, creating the perfect place for growing crops 365 days a year. Imperial Valley agriculture brings over $4 billion into the community, and Yuma over $3 billion. And a big factor driving that money is the strong workforce commuting daily from Mexico.
Without them, we wouldn't have ag here in the vegetable world in Yuma. We couldn't do what we're doing without the workers crossing the border every day. So I know there's a lot of people that look down on those people. They're just good, hardworking people trying to make a living.
Matt McGuire from J.V. Smith Farms says 75% of field workers cross the border every day to get to work.
They got to get up at 3 in the morning. They got to be at the border by 4. They got to commute up here to the fields about an hour, go to work. Then they have that reverse going home.
However, the proximity of the border does come with challenges for growers, as recently migrants are illegally crossing into the United States right next to their fields.
And the Border Patrol is doing a great job of keeping them right there at the border, but it can be a problem. But having such a high turnover every day, it's a constant morning meeting. Here's the food safety regulations. Here's what you can and can't do every day.
Crossing at the gaps by the Morelos Dam. And with the record numbers of migrants, local Border Patrol is stretched thin and can't be there 24/7, meaning some migrants begin trying to find their way on their own, which Coastline Family Farms owner Larry Cox says has hurt their crops.
And they got to the point where they started walking across fields to not the road or not the headland to keep from being detected. You go out and here's a big swath across a field, of either alfalfa or Bermuda grass. Here's track of 200 people that had come through.
A major threat to their businesses, potentially contaminating some of the produce, as growers go to great lengths to ensure food safety.
If it's your harvesters, you've got to have hygiene and gloves and the whole hair nets and the whole 9 yards. So if you've got somebody that's out there in an area that's either being harvested that day or within a couple days prior to that, okay, that is a food safety violation.
Both growers say they are working hard to put up field fencing and working alongside Border Patrol to keep the issue under control, all in an effort to keep reaping the benefits of farming at the border. Reporting at the border, Samantha Bird, News 11.
Coming up next on the Bordercast, we get to the bottom of the back and forth on wall construction. Does the state of Arizona have permission to build on federal land? Will the shipping containers actually stop border crossings? The answer is when our Bordercast returns.
Strike gold with the $45,000 Mystery Chest Cash Giveaway at Quichan Casino Resort. Stop by August 13th and 27th for a chance to reach for a mystery bag of loot. You could win up to $5,000 cash. Play with your Rewards Club card to earn entries. Not a member yet? Sign up today for the chance to win up to $1,000. Strike gold with Quichan Casino Resort's $45,000 Mystery Chest Cash Giveaway. So much, so close. Quichan Casino Resort.
After driving cattle in the 1880s, hitting the hay could be a literal experience. But some lucky cowpokes got to sack out in a brand new Sealy mattress. And after 140 years, Sealy is still delivering a great night's sleep. That's why Denver Mattress is proud to offer the Sealy Posturepedic Plus Hybrid. With cool-to-touch covers, body-hugging memory foams, and motion-reducing coils, you'll sleep cooler and more comfortably all night long. Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right Sealy.
The Yuma County Fair Incorporated and the fairgrounds are open all year round and available for your next private or business event. Now you can book weddings, baby showers, Christmas parties, quinceañeras, business events, and training meetings. We have a variety of indoor and outdoor safe and affordable venues for all types of event needs. You can even order all your event drinks directly from us. Call the number on your screen or go online for more details.
Now is the time to switch to Spectrum Internet. America's leading internet provider just got even faster, with speeds now starting at 300 megabits per second. Faster speeds to game, faster speeds to stream, faster speeds to work or learn from home. All with 99.9% network reliability. Get Spectrum Internet for just $49.99 a month, plus a free modem and free online security software. Call 877-906-9192. Add advanced Wi-Fi to get enhanced security for your home network, automatically blocking outside threats to your devices. If it's connected, it's protected. So no matter what you do online, you can do it faster, safer, and more reliably with Spectrum. Now is the time to switch. Get Spectrum Internet with faster speeds for the same great price. Just $49.99 a month with starting speeds of 300 megabits per second. Visit Spectrum.com to find out more or call 877-906-9192.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs.
When President Biden first took office, he stopped all southern border wall construction. But now, almost 2 years later, plans are in place from both the federal and state level to fill in the gaps in the Yuma sector. Even if these gaps are filled in, problems, though, will still remain. Completion of Arizona's shipping container wall is scheduled to be done by the end of the week, placing 8-ton boxes on top of each other at popular crossing spots at the Yuma border wall.
That's why we're focused on that area. It gives us the best return on investment, and it makes the most significant impact.
The move also maybe not completely legal, as the state of Arizona is building right on federal land, something Mayor Nichols said was a barrier to the state building at those gaps previously.
That is on the federal government because it's on federal land.
But the state says they're just doing what the federal government says they want to do themselves.
Even the federal government has admitted that these gaps need to be closed. They're just not actually doing it. And so we believe that the situation is so dire that it needs to be focused on immediately.
Now, with containers moving into place, could the current construction be a hindrance to the federal government putting in a permanent wall? Senator Mark Kelly has been pushing the Biden administration to fill in the gaps, and as of last week said plans were in place for construction to begin soon.
Have contractors come
and look at what the work is, and then they will make their proposals. What they will, how do they intend to do this work and what it's going to cost.
Proposals, though, now that will likely have to include how contractors plan to build around or remove tens of thousands of pounds of shipping containers. While construction is slated to end at the end of this week, one issue remains. The border wall here isn't actually built on the U.S.-Mexico border. The real border is in the middle of the river, meaning once the migrants cross to Colorado, they're in the United States. From shelters in Mexicali overrun with migrants to mothers looking for their missing sons in San Luis Rio, Colorado. The border crisis here in America is also being seen on the other side of the border in Mexico. Coming up next.
Californians have a choice between two initiatives on sports betting. Prop 27 generates hundreds of millions every year to permanently fund getting people off the streets and into housing. Prop 26, not a dime to solve homelessness. Prop 27 has strong protections to prevent minors from betting. Prop 26, no protections for minors. Prop 27 helps every tribe, including disadvantaged tribes. Prop 26, nothing for disadvantaged tribes. Vote yes on 27.
We got to cut the knot at some point, though, right? Maybe we should privatize Social Security, right? Private retirement accounts. Get the government out of it.
I've worked since I was 13 years old, and I'm 78. That's a long time.
I've been paying into Social Security since I was 16. We worked hard, and we deserve to get what we put in. Why would I trust somebody that doesn't care about Social Security?
I'm Mark Kelly, and I approve this message.
At Specialty Sewing Center, we install manual and electric solar screens for windows, patio doors, and patio shades. We use only top quality materials for our solar screens.
Locally owned and operated since 1999.
Check out the rest.
Then come to the best.
Critical overstock situation. Houston's Yuma Furniture bought truckloads of extra furniture and mattresses, but our warehouse is full and new merchandise is on its way. Now, to make space, we're holding a massive summer sell-off. Extreme price cuts. Recliners, $299. Sofas, $399. Save on the biggest in-stock selection of Lazy Boy furniture, the best mattresses, plus free same-day delivery and 60-month special financing. It's first come, first save during the massive summer sell-off at Houston's Yuma Furniture.
Summer is here, and the time to drive away in a new Hyundai has never been better. Visit Imperial Valley Hyundai today. Come in and check out Imperial Valley's premier Hyundai dealer for your vehicle service or your new ride. Come test out some of Hyundai's most exciting models, including the all-new Hyundai Santa Cruz. Feel confident with America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000 miles, and owner's assurance when you drive a new Hyundai. Great selection, great service, great prices, and great people who care about you. Serving South and Central California. Experience the difference at Imperial Valley Hyundai. Visit ivyhyundai.com.
Allergies, asthma. Be prepared. The News 11 team has you covered with the Air Quality Index. See what you should prepare for each day, every day, on our local newscast. Sponsored by Imperial County Air Pollution Control District.
From shelters in Mexicali overrun with migrants to mothers looking for their missing sons in San Luis Rio, Colorado. The border crisis here in America is also being seen on the other side of the border in Mexico. Over the weekend, cartels spread violence throughout the cities of Baja California. In Mexicali, it's just the most recent example of how the border crisis is causing problems. 25 violent incidents were reported throughout the state. In Mexicali, 3 people were arrested who were wanted for organized crime. Migrants have been showing up by the tens of thousands now for over a year from countries all over the world needing assistance. Shelters have popped up, but they're poorly funded and not well supported by the government.
Well, it's hard. It breaks anybody's heart. And I hope the government knows that there's families coming.
The migrants here are often stuck because of policies like Title 42 and Remain in Mexico. Many are completely shut out from getting into the U.S., like Leonel Deras, who, when we spoke to him, had tried to cross the border 7 times.
I've crossed through Algodones to Yuma, and the last time I came through Mexicali, and I've been deported these past 2 times.
From Mexicali to the desert near San Luis Rio, Colorado, where a group of women calling themselves the Buscando search for their missing children in the desert.
I'm searching for my son. They took him on November 23rd from my house, and I haven't seen him since.
I'm looking for my son. He's been missing for 9 months. He was 28 years old. His birthday was January 11th.
The team discovering dozens of bodies in makeshift graves by using stakes pushed into the ground and smelling the tips for the scent of a decomposing body. Mexicali and SLRC, just two of the many border cities in Mexico, becoming overwhelmed by the growing power of cartels and the border crisis. Over $1 billion in federal cash coming from border technology and overtime pay. Just how much is this border crisis costing you, the taxpayer? Our Luis Lopez finds out, coming up next.
Make every summer adventure the destination with Honda, America's most fuel-efficient full-line automaker. Hurry into a local Honda dealer where new vehicles are arriving daily.
It's always game time at Paradise Sportsbook. Get in on the action with live sports betting. You can make your wagers in person or from the comfort of your recliner. The choice is yours. There's nowhere better to place your bets. Give it a shot by visiting our sportsbook or download the mobile app at paradise-casinos.com. It's always game time at the Paradise Sportsbook. Get in on the action with live sports betting. So much action, so close to home. Paradise Casino.
Southwest Turf and Rock, Yuma's only artificial grass experts and your premier supplier of landscape products. We have the best selection of high-quality artificial grass, decorative rock, boulders, pavers. Come see our beautiful outdoor showroom and let our friendly product experts help you choose the perfect products for your project. Do we rock? You bet your sweetgrass. Southwest Turf and Rock, 4200 East 32nd Street in Yuma.
Spectrum Mobile has the best deal in mobile. Get unlimited for only $29.99 when you get 2+ lines. Plus, nationwide 5G is included. Switch and save up to 60%. Visit SpectrumMobile.com.
Pretty sure Dr. Phil will agree with me because I've been studying psychology since I was 3 years old.
Since you were 3?
Yes, sir.
Were you reading when you were 3?
Yes, sir.
Freud?
Everything I could get my hands on.
Here we are on national TV airing our dirty laundry.
That's America. How many of these people will we ever see in our lifetime? I won't admit it in front of America. I am a jerk. I am the biggest jerk.
Next, Dr. Phil.
Make every summer adventure the destination with Honda, America's most fuel-efficient full-line automaker. Hurry into a local Honda dealer where new vehicles are arriving daily.
The border crisis has been putting a strain on the Yuma community for years, but who exactly is being affected and how much money is it costing? Luis Lopez finds answers in this special report.
Because we're a small community, we've got challenges.
Yuma County Supervisor Jonathan Lines, a public official tasked with trying to manage the crisis. Upon meeting with several outlets who have dealt with immigrants coming through, one has stuck out to him.
My first concern is those of our first responders.
One issue coming up constantly is residents calling 911 after seeing immigrants near their homes.
And it's extremely difficult for them to differentiate with those people who are legal or illegal, and so they continue to stretch their resources.
San Luis Police Lieutenant Marco Santana has noticed the issues firsthand.
I mean, I can tell you that it's a constant flow of traffic right about the border area where we have an influx number of immigrants.
Something which has stretched his officers thin. Santana says just over the past few months, San Luis has seen 500 to 1,000 immigrants making their way through the city every day, some even trying to make their way into residential properties.
And what we've had in the past, they try to actually illegally enter inside homes. That becomes obviously an issue. It's against the law.
Some local resources have also been on the hook for various costs with the crisis. Over at Yuma Regional Medical Center, immigrants needing medical attention are making their way to the hospital. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Bharat Magoo says immigrant care is nothing new for his staff, but recently things have gotten more challenging.
The numbers and the volume have significantly jumped over the last year and a half and 2 years. I think we have seen a major influx of immigrants.
Just from December 2021 to May of this year, YRMC says it has spent $20.4 million on emergency immigrant care. With immigrants not having any insurance for the hospital to bill, YRMC has to cover the costs. With so much money spent by just the hospital, we asked Lines how much the crisis has cost the county. While he could not come up with an exact number, he knows that number is high.
So when you quantify all of those agencies combined, it's pretty significant.
Reporting from the border, Luis Lopez.
Coming up next on the Bordercast, how one local from Los Algodones is using the border crisis to his advantage, and also making an effort to keep the Colorado River clean. Stick with us.
Get the home makeover you've been dreaming of with the Renovation Sensation Giveaway at Paradise Casino. Select Saturdays now through December. Play for the chance to win cash or home renovation prizes. So much, so close. Paradise Casino.
El Charro Cafe, the best of Mexico, is right here in Yuma. Owned and operated by the Gutierrez family since 1949, with authentic recipes handed down from generation to generation. Journey through the best of Mexican culture with every bite you take of our traditional cuisine. Our mouth-watering homemade tortillas are made fresh daily. Stop in for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 with drink and appetizer specials. And try our family packs. El Charro Cafe since 1949, voted Yuma's best.
The bladder control aisle. You won't shop here again. Your private business is your own. The constant struggle is over. Now there's a better way. It's HDIS. We home deliver bladder control products. We understand how you feel. For over 25 years, we've home delivered to many of the 20 million Americans who deal with incontinence. We offer all brands. We pay shipping and use plain, unmarked boxes. If we can help you or someone you care for, call for your free product sample pack and $45 in money-saving coupons. Our counselors will help you choose the right product. And unlike stores, we're always in stock. You'll get what you need. Satisfaction guaranteed. HDIS, the better way.
For your free sample pack with your free catalog, $45 in money-saving coupons, and free product samples, call 1-800-489-3026. That's 1-800-489-3026.
NPG of Yuma El Centro has an immediate opening for an on-air morning co-anchor in Yuma, Arizona. We're looking for an articulate on-air morning co-anchor with good camera presence and a firm grasp of current events. The candidate must have strong news judgment and solid writing and video skills, an ability to lead a newscast and produce a show. The candidate we choose must be able to shoot and edit his or her own material. When applying for this position, please go to kyma.com, Jobs Internship section.
One local from Mexico is pledging to keep one part of the border wall clean, where it meets the Cocopah Reservation. Jacqueline Aguilar shows us what a typical night looks like for this man.
The uptick in crossings has brought more trash to the border, and one local from Los Algodones takes it upon himself to keep his country clean and make a little money on the side.
David Miramontes of Los Algodones treks to the U.S.-Mexico border for upkeep and maintenance every single day. Migrants aren't able to take personal belongings with them after Border Patrol processes them, leaving countless pieces of trash and clothing along the wall. Miramontes spends hours in the middle of the night cleaning it all up, finding sellable items along the way. The 42-year-old man has been doing this for 6 months now.
The immigrants will give me tips and the money that they won't use in America anymore. It's a good job for me, even though I'm a volunteer, but it's a job for me that's working well.
After migrants are loaded on buses, Miramontes takes a step over the wall to pick up the last of the clutter before going home. Local Border Patrol agents and Miramontes have an agreement allowing him to be at the border undisturbed.
Well, they don't say anything, and they know very well it's not my intention to cross to the United States. I don't come looking over there. I come to look at what I'm interested in, which is my job.
Miramontes says cartels make his way to the border difficult. The wall caretaker says he's also confronted by Mexican authorities.
Over there, well, the police can follow me, the cartels, soldiers, and they take everything from me. If I have any money, they take it. Yes, it's scary. Every day I make the sign of the cross over myself to be able to cross over the river because it's really dangerous.
Miramontes remains true to his word of solely wanting an honest day's work. He says it's unfortunate so much trash is left behind, but enjoys cleaning it up.
They are giving me an opportunity to be here, and I am not going to take advantage of it by doing something stupid or trying to get a little more money and they run me out of here, you know?
By being forced to dump possessions, migrants unknowingly help out children and families. Miramontes says although he does sell certain items, he enjoys giving away clothes and shoes to those who really need them. Miramontes, just another face of this ongoing border crisis. Reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border in Yuma, Jacqueline Aguilar, News 11.
Thanks for watching the Bordercast on News 11. I'm Adam Klepp. All the stories you saw are available on our website, kyma.com.